G'day guys, my name is Lord Tomo. Welcome again to another Sonic the Hedgehog toy item collectible. As you know, I'm good old Lord Tomo. We have the little blue star here, Sonic the Hedgehog. Actually listening to some tunes, some beats, as they call it back in the day. This is actually a reference to the actual item we're going to be more or less reviewing. For those who've been keeping post on my channel, you would have noticed that I did another review of sorts of a cassette player. This is the American version-ish, in a way, of the actual cassette player. So to be honest, straight off the bat, I'm just going to say this one is way much better than the other one that I reviewed, simply because obviously the other one was pretty just merely for collectibles, but this one, its aesthetics, the way it looks, and just the way the overall design looks impressive, both as a collector piece and from a point of usability. However, I'm not going to be using this because we live in the 21st century, blah 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 blah. So yeah, cassette players is pretty much obsolete unless you're one of those hipsters, retrolist, you know, like I'm gonna have to listen to cassettes because everybody's doing it and it's not mainstream and blah blah blah. Anyway, so let's have a closer look at this. This review won't be as comprehensive as I would like, simply because the actual item itself is pretty hard to find in terms of just outside of box packaging. I have seen it maybe once. I wanted to buy it, but obviously due to time restraints, personal issues, and work, I was not able to get, but I did was able to pick this one up, so I'm extremely happy. I wanted to get a complete version of this anyway, simply for display purposes. So as you can probably straight at the bat, back in the 90s we had this little annoying thing where this little plastic bit, yeah, it's a sealable plastic sleeve, so as much as I would like to open it, the minute you start cutting open it, you start getting the blister. You have to cut through the blister pack plastic and the paper and a whole bunch of fun stuff, which I may not actually want to do. So if I do manage to get another one, I'll probably do an update / review, kind of a 1.5 review of this in conjunction with another review, because you know it's definitely worth a look, really. So already straight at the bat, you can probably tell how colorful and wonderful and just overall well presented this actual packaging itself is. Not the actual plastic, but the actual blister cardboard bit. So at the very top corner you have good old Sonic the Hedgehog, that's the retro logo. You have Sega, and I see, yep, and it says a scene in the hit TV show game by Sega. It's got 8 Ansett Plus. I have no idea what that is. You obviously have the barcode, so you can buy this from retailer. It says this is ages 8 plus and above. Personal stereo, and it's written in different various other languages cassette player. So I'm just gonna probably call this Sonic the Hedgehog personal stereo cassette player, and just kind of make it unique in its own right. Now, one of the hard things, in my personal opinion, when it comes to just packaging in general, I know people don't like listening to packaging little stories, but I think it's an actual art within itself, to be honest. But one of the major key factors is blending the retro sort of aspect of Sonic and his kind of environmental factors in with a different color, and I think this actually blends well. You have this kind of like light velvet purple sort of effect on it in conjunction with the actual classic Green Hill Zone sort of terrain, which I think for whatever reason works in such a marvelous way that I've never seen before, actually. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to pick it up. You can probably see the cassette there. I will pass this cassette just for now so I can just more or less explain just the packaging. You have good old Sonic the Hedgehog there, awesome. And what makes this even further unique is you have like his hand, I don't know, here you actually have his hand as if he's like holding onto it, which I think is pretty awesome. But in the same token, just look where his Sonic is and look where his hand is, so it looks like he's, you know, Mr. Elastic. Wow, that's pretty much Knuckles' job if you play Sonic Heroes, where his hands go beyond his body size. Anyway, at the very bottom you have the batteries, what it requires, 2 AA batteries, and you just have like system requirements here. So I'm just gonna have a quick look at it. System, automatic stop system, and three function buttons, automatic removable belt clip, which is pretty alright. It also has other stuff, you know, pretty mandatory, obligatory sort of information that needs to be there. Lightweight stereo headphones, and you have obviously what it is here, which is imported by Canada. Oh, what do you know? This was made in Canada. For those who picked up on it, the actual company is DSI. Yeah, how infamous is that logo? You could really relate to it in so many levels. I guess it's better than the iPhone. Ooh, I stabbed that, didn't I? At the back, let's have a look at it. You have what it is, DSI, made in China. Wow, no surprises there, really. Everything's to be made in China. I always had a question, stuff that are made in China and sold to Chinese markets, are they actually made in China? Or do they have like, I think they have Thailand for China. How interesting. The instruction sheet's there. Obviously I haven't opened this, so I can't show you the full instructions, but I have no doubt the obligatory information that is required, which is probably annoying. Nobody really cares about that. And you just have the back. So at the back here, let's look at the item now, is just basically a little red casing. You just unhinge that, put the batteries in, and away you go. You have the little clip so you can look hip and cool back and then. And that's pretty much all that's really is. At the actual front is by far, you even get a set of cool headphones. Awesome, bro. Awesome. And you have the cassette player, which says stereo cassette player, Sonic the Hedgehog, good old Sonic, and you have a little pine tree, which I think is awesome. And you have the little circle. Like, I don't know, it just sold me when I first saw this. It was like absolutely sold me. I think the pine tree did for me, really. Pine trees and Sonic. I love that. Because for those who played the original Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm pretty sure you could pick up, it's not exactly 100%, you know, the way it looks. Obviously the color of the stem should be brown, for instance, and all the fun stuff, but hey, at least, you know, you've added something unique and different to it, opposed to the standard obligatory Sonic and Knuckles and Tails and just a static Green Hill Zone. You know, I like when they mix it up a bit. At the very top you just have two buttons, a couple of buttons, is a stop, fast forward and play. So stop, fast forward and play. Awesome, good, I love it. So as you can see straight at the bat, this is straight up a display piece for me. It's one of the things where mates can come around, pick it up, have a quick look at it, and it's just, honestly, 9 out of 10 times, this is probably one of the things that people actually have a quick look. Hey, that looks pretty colourful. They pick it up and like, oh, I remember that. That's back in the 90s. So it's pretty out there. Now, for those who are not, in the know-how of how the 90s were, prior to obviously digital download, it was CDs. Prior to CDs, it was albums / cassette players, and prior to that were like, well, no, before that was actually albums, then cassettes, then CDs, then digital download. Nowadays it's CD and digital download. Cassette player is pretty much obsolete unless you're a hardcore hipster retrolist in that regard, because, you know, why not? So this was pretty much the big thing back in the day. I definitely did remember it. I never had this one in my collection, or I never actually had a cassette player. I had one which was like old school that was given to me as a child, so it's good just to pick this up, just to pay homage to the 90s, really, and just to really say, hey, look, it's Sonic 90s, come on, you can't go wrong with that. It's definitely just a talkable piece, because this often leads to the whole, oh, remember Power Rangers, oh my god, remember Ninja Turtles, remember, yeah, there's a lot of things we remember as kids. But yeah, for those who don't know much about cassette players, you can definitely Wikipedia there. It's always fun to know how that sort of information. In terms of rarity, look, straight at the bat, I'm probably going to jump this up to maybe 8 stars out of 10, simply because it's extremely hard to find in terms of just overall. I've never really seen this, especially when I check auction websites and all that fun stuff, in terms of just the packaging as a whole. So when I first caught wind of it, I really wanted it. When I finally saw it, which was on eBay, I had to snap it up, because quite frankly, just look at it, you know. If you're not into this, fair enough, but I am into this overall design. It was just like, God, I've got to have it. It's just that awesome. So 8 stars out of 10. How much did I get it for? Yeah, let's oh wow, yeah, this cost me a hefty bit. I think it actually cost me $200 all up, really, postage and handling and all the fun stuff there, especially now eBay has this sort of what is it, like an extra insurance money that you have to pay or something. That really blew me out of the water. I think initially it was about 150, but then that kicked in another BS, and so it's about 200. A little pricey. Look, granted, I get it. Not for everybody. Not a lot of money can, you know, not a lot of people can throw money out there. I sadly can. I'm not trying to put myself in a elite pedestal, but it's just, I'm single, I've worked 2 jobs. It's like, where do I spend my money if I don't get a girlfriend? Oh my god, I'm such a low. No, but yeah, it's just one of those things, really. But yeah, it's definitely something that I felt that it was justifiable for the price, and at the time this was the only item that I picked up then. So I was kind of like in a drought in terms of Sonic collectibles, so I wasn't collecting anything for the last couple of 3 months or something, simply because there was nothing out there that I really wanted. But yeah, definitely keep. So yeah, about $200, that's what you might be expecting. Then if you can get it cheaper, awesome. You know, even if you don't get it for the plastic and just for the actual item itself, still a keeper, I think. Anyway, it's definitely a nice display piece. If you can get it with the overall plastic, awesome. That's something. And if you get it for something cheaper, don't tell me because my heart will break knowing that I've spent more money than I should have. But yeah, that's definitely. But when did I get this eBay? Where was it sold? Back in retailers in that day, mom and pop shops in the US. I don't know what they had in Canada or the UK. In Australia, we just had kind of like secondhand store. I don't know. It wasn't a secondhand store. It was a thrift store, maybe. I don't know. It's not like a cheap knockoff exactly. You know. Then again, you could argue most Chinese stuff are cheap knockoffs, really. But it's definitely something, an interesting piece. Anyway, guys, tell me what your thoughts on this. If you like it, you hate it. You know, just share your 2 cents worth of how you experienced back in the 90s. If you have any stories of that nature, I'm always here to listen. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for staying tuned, and speed on and take care. Till next week, guys.